Welcome to Rauta. This is Nordic Metal Cruise 2022, and this is a peculiar case because actually today's band is not something that performed here today, but because we don't really care about those things, we actually care about bands that have something to say. I am proud to present you Totalselfhatred. Let's introduce the guys.
Hey, Mikko, I'm the bass player.
Alex, play guitar and vocals and main songwriting.
Totalselfhatred. Everybody is supposed to know that you are the core, but you both are founding members. Am I right? And let's start with this peculiar thing called the band's name. Totalselfhatred, everything put together, no spaces between the words. What's the story of this self-hatred and why it is written like it is?
Well, one of the band members came up that when we were talking about what kind of music we want to do, that it should be like very like melancholic and desperate music, and he used the word self-hatred in it. It sounds like a good band name, but actually there was one band that had already that name, and I just like total name to it, and the purpose was to like have like a band name which is really like filled with emotions, because all the music is like it's very much about emotions. It's not so much about, of course, also musicianship, but like the emotion, the music is the most important in our band, in our music. Yes.
And so because you're not self-hated, you're total self-hated, you're even more hating yourselves than the other band.
It's more like how we put ourselves really into the music. Like it doesn't matter if we record music or if we play live, we always put ourselves 100% into it. It's also like it's very difficult to play a live show if you don't have the feeling for it. So it's really, really difficult, because this is the most important thing for us. Like, not like to have a really good played show, just like that you get the feeling to the audience. And yeah.
What made you want to do this kind of a music? Your music is, like I said,
yes,
depressive, it's melancholic, it's extreme metal, it's very dark and all that stuff. Why do you want to do that?
I was always affected by this kind of music, like, and I felt back then that this kind of music, which is dedicated just to this kind of feeling and mixes up different kind of musical styles, wasn't there at the moment. It's something like, because I always, if you do music, you want to do something like which you really want to hear yourself. And we mixed up bands like, I was influenced by bands like Typo Negative, Forgotten Woods, Norwegian Manes, bands like Coldplay. Like it doesn't matter about the genre, it was more like the feeling in the music is the one thing which was very important. And if you ask me about the band name Total Self-Hatred, if it would be like the correct name, we should call it Total Self-Criticism, because it is more like, it sounds really stupid like to have a band called Total Self-Criticism, but it's always like about questioning yourself and feeling the pain of life, or like the weight of life. That's what Total Self-Hatred is about. It's not so much about like having self-pity or something. It's just like being serious about yourself and your goals and how you
Ideas and all that.
Yes.
Now, you being one of the founding members, how easy or hard it was for you to jump into this kind of music? I mean, creating music that is very dark and kind of a personal, and just teaming up with other members, it cannot be that easy. Like, okay, I'll just go play some dark tunes and maybe I will kill myself along the way. But how did you decide for yourself, like, this is it, this is what I want to do?
Well, I was there when those two people were discussing about the band and the band's name, and I overheard that talk, and I was immediately like, oh, I want to be in it also. But and of course they didn't refuse for me being in it, but
basically it's very important to know, like, we all have been like really close friends at that point.
Yeah.
Like that also added much to like why we wanted to do this, and like we really felt with three of us, like we're talking about him, Korus, and me, and we really like had that same goal, that same feeling. We were listening to the same music, we were excited about the same kind of music, but we all felt like that there wasn't kind of that. No one did that kind of music,
Yeah.
like mixing all that genres and like kind of be like fuck off if it's like how it sounds like just yeah.
How would you describe your music? I mean, people have many different interpretations how your music would be described, but what is your description of what Total Self-Hatred is?
Actually, I can't answer it. It's really difficult to. I know that many put us in the depressive black metal genre, but yeah, it's partly it's true. But on the other side, I think which is really like different with us is like we are not like hey, kill yourself or something. It's more like about growing through difficulties or like through difficult times in your life, and it's
It's not exactly suicidal, but
No,
it's kind
really
of
not.
melodic and depressive kind of stuff.
Yeah, because at the time when we started the band, like there was no depressive black metal. There was like suicidal black metal. I really didn't want to be in that suicidal black metal because I didn't feel that suicide is like a kind of solution or something like that. I just wanted to have like something else than that. Later, the people, like someone did that, created that depressive black metal genre, which we were put in, and it's fine. I'm okay with that. But I think we are more than that.
How creating bass lines for that kind of a band? How much is it like different? And before you answer, I mean, a lot of people seem to see, especially when we're talking about so-called bedroom black metal bands, it's just about one guy creating very basic chords, just maybe adding a drum machine or getting a external drummer.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you play something on the background while I kill myself with these boring, depressive riffs. But you also, because I mean, you're a band, not exactly a solo project. Creating bass, which is, I think, often kind of an underrated instrument.
Yeah.
How important it is you to just like have the bass, the down tunes to the music, and create a layer of element in the songwriting.
Yeah, well, of course, the bass isn't just an instrument in our music. It also has its own important role in it. And at the moment, I would see that all of us are participating on that riff-taking, riff-composing parts. Even if it's guitar riffs or bass lines, but
we're kind of like throwing ideas to each other. Like you could play that on the bass, you could play this on the guitar, and it's like it has become very much of a band. You know, when we started, it was more like I was doing the music most of the time. Actually, on the computer, it was like this kind of bedroom stuff. But we then rehearsed the stuff in the rehearsal room, and then took it to the studio. But now, after the second album, we started like to work as a band. And actually now, the fourth album started to be like what we are supposed to be, like really a band. Everybody puts himself. We have a common vision about common vision about like what we want to do and what we want to achieve with the music. It was a pretty long way actually from the beginning to what we're doing now.
Now, there's some kind of a myth, or actually more like a saying, or idea among the reviewers, a lot of us, that the third album is the kind of a crossroads. That is, after the first initial idea, when you have your first songs and everything's like, for the second album, it's more like going with the second ideas and maybe even honing the first. And by the third album, you're like, oh my God, we need to fucking reinvent ourselves, or maybe reinforce what we're doing. And that is so often kind of a defining point for a lot of albums. How do you feel that myth or saying in your case, like when or where was your band like, this is it, now we are set in concrete that this is our style and all that?
Actually, I don't think we will ever have that point, because each album has its own style, own ideas, and we never want to repeat, like, because especially after the first album, which people liked it, but still I didn't want to repeat what we did on the first album. On the other side, the second album was like we tried too much, like to change the whole thing, to make more band, and it was really like it was just chaos. And we tried to really like somehow we even like managed to get that feeling into the album, because it's really like lots of opposites and stuff like this. But it was a really difficult album. The third album again was like we're getting towards what we want to do, but I feel actually not the third but the fourth album will be probably that what we wanted to achieve with the third album.
So how does your songwriting and lyrics go together? I mean, how do they work together? How can you figure out like, okay, these are the riffs, these are the songs, and I need to add lyrics to that, or do the lyrics come first and then you're like, okay, we need to make songs for that?
It's first music, then we listen to the music, and then we listen to what kind of feelings come up with that music, and then we try to find fitting words and fitting lyrics to it. Even the rhythms is tried to like come with the music and with the feeling. It's really important. Like I somehow can't imagine to have first lyrics and then put the song. Well, maybe I could try at some point, but it's always like I really need to feel first the song, and then some kind of feeling comes up, and then I put the lyrics into it. And when Gorgo still was a part of the band, we like kind of forced back, talked about these feelings, and everybody puts his own thoughts into it. So especially the first album has been like the lyrics somehow even though doesn't make sense between each other, because everybody just put his own like feelings.
Yeah, it was sort of a patchwork.
Yeah.
That we had a list of lyrics in our drawers, and we were throwing them onto the table, and we have this much lyrics. Let's put these in somehow in these songs. And of course, Alex was one of those people who were deciding what fits in what songs.
I think we even decided together what we are taking as.
Yeah, of course.
For example, Sledgehammer Hard was a song where, like, last minute in the studio, we decided what kind of sentence the lyrics we take into the song. Again, like one of probably the most known song of Totalselfhatred, Enlightened. I remember we were text messaging with chorus, like I think a couple of days before we had to go to the studio. And it was just like I really tried a long time to find the fitting lyrics for it, but then it's just forced back, and suddenly there were the perfect lyrics for the song.
Now, given that your style in music is somewhat limited in terms of ideas and emotions, how hard it is for you to figure out lyrics that are fitting for the band?
Actually, I maybe even disagree about, like, I think you can put about any feeling into, or any kind of riff into Totalselfhatred, but there's maybe this one kind of red line in it, which we are going. For example, we have lots of different influences into the band, but we call it manken in English.
I don't really.
It's called like you through the Totalselfhatred press, like you put it, and then it sounds like Totalselfhatred. It can sound like Slipknot, and then suddenly it sounds like Totalselfhatred.
Yeah, you kind of put it into through a machine that filters out Totalselfhatred sound and lyrics.
Yes.
But so could you basically do a happy kind of set of lyrics, like, hey, this is about love, falling in love, and all that stuff. The music is killing me.
Actually, Sentence is one of the best examples for like having a mix of maybe even a little bit happy music or like happy lyrics or songs with depressive lyrics or something. Like, I think it is possible. Yes, I think we can do it. You were saying something about this.
No, never mind.
All right, but I'll take you anyway, because I think a lot of people, to some degree, including me, don't necessarily know that you have extensive background in various bands. You've been playing in different kind of bands.
Well, not that many actually. Only Totalselfhatred is my third band.
But I mean, you are also having a background with different genres. This is not like, okay, this is the first band I ever started and I didn't even know if I'm gonna like it.
Okay.
So you're coming from different bands or having different kind of a background, and how much that has affected in your playing style or creating riffs or a certain mood?
Ooh, of course that has affected quite a lot. When I joined in the band, I considered that I couldn't play at all, and I was just playing what they are saying to me, that you play this of course, over the years, and I have developed my own kind of style to play, and with these guys, and they know my style, and it's how should I say it?
A friend of us put it well. He said, like, for example, of the first album, like, I wrote the bass lines, but Mikko played them with style.
Okay. Yeah.
That's.
But what about you? You also have some background in different,
Yes.
for example, black metal bands prior or in addition to
Yes.
Totalselfhatred. How much you need to have yourself in a different mood in order to, okay, this is Totalselfhatred and these are the other bands. How do you need to just kind of change your attitude or way to play certain kind of a music, or does it just come out like natural?
No, it doesn't. It has to, like, I have to kind of put myself into that feeling, and sometimes I even used some kind of pictures or something before the gig, like, so it reminds me of certain happenings to get me in the mood. And of course with black metal it's easier because you put all the chords paint and stuff like this, then you get in the mood, and the stage and everything, it helps you. But with Totalselfhatred, it's like you have kind of like prepare, not only like playing before the show, like to get you warming up, but also like in your mind kind of warming up, like now things are getting kind of like serious. Yes.
How do you combine the rest of your life with this kind of a music, which of course cannot be the leading thing in your life? I mean, if you would always go to this kind of a niche and think that if you look long enough into the others starts looking back at you, this kind of music can be really all that kind of depressive and melancholic and dark. So how do you balance things out with this kind of music?
Actually, music has always for me been like this catharsis. Like everything with that which I experience in my life, not only personal challenges, but also what I see around me and what I experience, and even if in my job what I see there, and like what I put it into the music. It's for me like it's very essential, and it's kind of extreme because life and band can be really different, but I like to have it like that. Like this is music, this is my personal life, and of course throughout the years they have gotten a more like a little bit more like more close to each other, but still like to keep it like that.
All right, fair enough. Now, what kind of other outlets do you need in your life in addition to music, or do you?
Yes, I do, and I need. Oh, I don't know if you do have a better answer. Well, good question, but like.
What do you mean specifically?
I mean, do you need to have like, okay, you can put certain kind of emotions into this kind of music, and maybe it helps you, I don't know, deal with stress or personal, I don't know, issues. But then you might have different feelings which are not exactly fitting for this kind of music. So do you need other outlets in order to just, I don't know, deal with it all?
Very good question.
Yeah. Actually, I personally don't think I don't need it, because music is for me kind of therapeutical. So yeah, maybe I don't know. For example, a good example is that band that actually played just the pros. It's like very progressive stuff, and it was great to see them. Like I really enjoyed playing, but it's not the kind of music I would like to do myself, because it's playing. It's not something. Maybe I enjoy it, maybe not, but because music always has been for me not so much music, but more like expression.
Now, I felt as a somewhat casual, I guess, musician myself, that I feel like there are lots of bands which are probably fun to play, as in order to challenge you as a whatever you do, vocalist, guitarist, drummer, whatever. And then there are bands which are nice to do because it lets you kind of put your emotions in, kind of channel your inner thoughts, but which might not be that much, challenging to play or whatever that stuff, which comes back to the musicianship. How much you need a certain kind of technicality or musicianship to have in the band to keep it interesting, or is it just enough for you to have the emotion to keep it driving, running?
I think the emotion is the most important. Yes, of course. the greatest thing in my opinion is like when music fits like the emotion, the music relationship, and then there's like really a great spirit in it. That's somehow like which is the greatest in music. But you can't always achieve that. The emotion is what drives me to do music.
Okay, we're getting close to the end of the interview. So, which one comes first? Doing new songs, rehearsing, and all that stuff versus live? You
Live.
first. What about you, Minttu?
Live.
Why so?
I hope that it could be that music comes first, but I would say that it's impossible.
I've tried that a couple of times, like I was trying to make music kind of my job or something, but I always noticed if I try to get serious about it, I lose the feeling. It's start too much to feel like work and too much like now you have to do this. I really need to do music always when it feels like that. It can't be like there could be months of I don't feel at all doing music, and it can be like 1 week I do every day and many hours, and
It's kind of a up and down, and
it's
then
a kind of up and
manic
down.
and
Yes,
all that stuff.
yes.
All right. Now you get to choose, both of you. Let's start with you. Favorite Totalselfhatred song?
Oh, must be Ruoska from that album.
Why so?
It has some sort of a dynamic that always gives me quite powerful feelings during live shows.
All right. What about you?
Very difficult question.
I know.
Yeah.
I hate it myself.
Do you mean like more listen to or to play live?
Up to you. What gives you the best kicks, so to speak?
But to live, I have to say, from our third album, the Solitude song, somehow I really like to play it live. So it's not the favorite song to listen to. Again, if I listen to it, it's probably like a live.
All right. Now it's your time to play a little bit of a role of a philosopher,
Okay.
giving the words of wisdom. Now you could got this one piece of advice, multiple words or just one word. What you would say to the audience that now are like, okay, now I know the band style, now I know their favorite songs to start with, and now I want to hear what these guys actually think. So what kind of life guidance advice you would give to the audience?
Just be yourself and just be yourself, be individual, do what you, follow your heart.
Good one.
I have nothing to add.
Nothing to add. This is Totalselfhatred, a good band with a good amount of good feelings. Well, not good feelings, but let's go quotation marks. This is Nordic Metal Cruise 2022. So check out this guy's music. You will find links provided in the description box. And should you have any questions that you would want to ask from the band itself, I can pass it for you. So put those comments in the comment section, and we'll see you with more videos coming your way. This is Rauta. Good night and all that. Bye. Hyvä. Kiitos.
Kiitoksia.
Kylläpä sitä osaa mies mennä lukkoon englannin kielestä.
Hyvä se oli. Hyvä se oli.